Oh, yeah. It's another good old headbanging good time here at Better Than Broadway. Season 2, Episode 2 is in your living room. Justin has pancakes or waffles or whatever. So, where's mine,
cakes.
asshat?
They're muscle cakes. They're right here. I got enough for all you guys.
All right.
Grab a fork. Just a buttload of eggs, and it is gluten-free pancake mix.
Very nice.
Some berries, some cinnamon, a little bit of protein powder, and these things are delicious. I just got up because it is 11 o'clock as we are recording this, and I got in from work about 4:30 this morning, so this is my breakfast.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Well, I'm glad you're here, and I know Chef's glad you're here. Coach Rob, the chef, and the muscles, we are all here for episode 2, season 2, Better Than Broadway. What an interesting week. We've got a lot of great stuff to go over this week in wrestling. We've got the finals of the Battle of Los Angeles 23 for PWG. Bola. We got the Impact Hard to Kill results, and we have the big story of I don't know. I guess this is probably going to be the big story of 2023, and we're going to be following it pretty closely all year long.
Oh, yeah.
The return of Vince McMahon and the potential sale of WWE.
I heard this is so big. I heard somebody talking about it the other day. It said there's actually a little bit of rumors and talk about potentially Punk coming back to AEW, and it's not even headline news. That's how freaking crazy it is right now. In wrestling.
Well, I saw a rumor that they were like, we're going to do an AEW WWE merger. Like, what?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think a lot of this is just hyperbole.
Oh, yeah.
The Saudi Arabia thing is still very much on the table, I'm sure. But, it was a done deal, and that was bullshit. And, I think a lot of this is just people taking, like, an inch and running a mile with it.
Yeah.
So much of it is like you want people to come to your site, or you want somebody to read your blog. You got to say some incendiary shit for them to come. Oh, what is this? Oh, it's clickbait. Okay, yeah, screw you. So yeah, everyone's gonna making all the ideas. Absolutely. And the only thing we know is that Stephanie McMahon resigned.
Yes, and we will get into that in detail later in the show. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to knock this thing off. We're going to start with This Week in Wrestling. Did you guys get a chance to check out some of the WWE, AEW Impact shows this week?
A little bit. I'm watching SmackDown right now, and I love their bloodline keeps like, oh, Sammy, you're our guy. Go fight the wolves. And you're like, what the fuck, dude? It's so like, they're building such a great storyline there. I love it.
Yeah, I actually plan on watching SmackDown. Obviously, I didn't watch it last night, so I would hope that I could have watched it before. But I'm going to watch it when we get done with this for sure. But I watched AEW and watched a scroll through a little bit of Raw this week. I thought AEW was pretty good. I can't believe that they really are pushing. I thought this was just like a fluke thing.
The trio titles
pushing. Yeah, no, I'm more talking about the Action Andretti.
Oh yeah,
they're pushing him like they did frickin' Rocky, in the mid late 90s.
Well, I believe I called it. In our last show of last year.
They're doing a better job with him though, because people actually seem to like him.
I see a lot of young John Cena in Action Andretti, and I think that Chris Jericho does also, because Action Andretti was doing a show in Maryland and for MCW, and he was their champion, and he did a dark match with QT Marshall, and Jericho was watching the match, and he said, "Damn, that kid's got something. Let's see what he can do," and that's why he put him over. And credit to Jericho for not only putting over, he's put over Ricky Starks, he's put over Action Andretti, he put over Claudio. Jericho's lost 3 matches in a row, and that's probably the first time in the last 15, 20 years of his career that he's lost 3 marquee matches in a row. So,
but isn't the theory that if he's going to live up to the Ocho, he's got to win 8, lose 8?
Oh, you know what? I didn't think about that. That is an interesting thought there, bud. That's interesting.
So you're saying the gimmick is he's going to lose 8 in a row?
Maybe. Fan theory.
And if they did that, it would just be so somebody could pop the crowd for a jab at him saying, "Oh, you're the Ocho, all right. You lost 8 matches in a row."
Right.
And then him
Well,
not
It could be
wanting
it.
that
It
name.
could be it.
Yeah, well, I love how the
I mean,
crowd.
just
I love
think,
how the
like,
crowd
maybe-
is counting to 8 now.
Yeah. I think, just imagine, like, who could be the next 5 wrestlers Jericho's putting over.
Oh man, we should do a list of those. Ooh, that'd be fun.
Wait, are
I'll
you
put that
saying
in
we're
the
going to
poll.
make a?
Look at the
Are you
poll.
saying we're going to make a list of Jericho?
A list?
Of
A list,
Jericho?
you say? Tell me more.
But anyways, we'll see what happens with Jericho and the Ocho status. Hey, Adam Cole's back, guys. I love that. I'm glad he's healed up.
That's great. Yeah,
God
you.
bless Adam Cole.
Britt Baker actually posted something on Twitter the other day saying, like, you have no idea what he's gone through in the last 6.5 months to get back here. There are days where he just wouldn't leave the house. There were days where, he couldn't walk or get out of bed or this and that and the other. So it's really heartwarming to see.
Yeah, he
Adam
couldn't take
Cole back in the
He
ring.
couldn't like ride in a car, right?
No, couldn't do anything.
Yeah, he was like vomiting.
vomit and stuff. He wouldn't leave the house except for his PT or whatever it was.
That's right.
Doctor's appointment.
And so for him to be running around that ring, zipping around that ring, being in front of a crowd of people, and as a face, I mean, they brought Adam Cole back as a baby face, which I'm not.
They didn't have a choice. When a
Yeah.
guy battles something like that and he comes back from from something like that they're gonna be, because the crowd loves him and they're coming out. But I love the swerve that he did with I've got some good news and I've got some bad news for and the crowd was like, no, and then he's like, oh, but the bad news isn't for me. Like that was kind of, I was really kind of thinking that he was going to do that. I was hoping that he was going to do that.
Well, I mean, I remember he was doing his whole speech and it was great, and everyone loves him. But there was like one asshole in the crowd, like, well, I think it was quiet. He'd be like, "You suck." I'm like, dude, who are you? Why are you doing this? Like, the guy's
There's
come back
always
from injury.
been-
I know, but like, it's just, hey, man, somebody
He
give
was
them a
probably
stern talking to.
He was probably talking to his baby mom and they were having an argument. He was probably like,
Yeah,
you suck,
okay.
Oh man, but that's what separates John Moxley from Adam Cole, because Adam Cole like takes it in stride, and John Moxley's like, you know what, fuck that guy, get out of here, you piece of shit. Like it's just so mad on a live microphone.
He'll call him out on it.
On broadcast television.
Yeah, he's like, oh, hey,
Popping
you go
the
fuck
crowd.
yourself. Yeah. That's hilarious.
Amazing.
Yeah. And just to quickly go through AEW, dude, Bryan Danielson and Konosuke Takeshita. What a
That
fucking
was
match.
a freaking match.
That
yeah,
was awesome.
Take Ashita, as what is it, MJF?
As
Take
MJF
Ashita.
said.
Yeah, you couldn't have made him look any better if he would have won. I think.
No.
I think Brian really did a great job of making him look strong. It kind of solidified him. I think you're going to see a lot more of him.
I think what I love or what I hate is like, okay, MJF, we've seen the fight 5 guys to get to me type of thing. So like we all know it's going to build up the pay-per-view. I think Danielson should like lose the next one. Just like okay, moving on. That would be great. Of just throw a wrench in there, throw a red herring.
But I feel like the trials of MJF have become such a staple. It's like, the Undertaker's tombstone pile driver or something like that. Like, it's just, it doesn't really get old because it's kind of his thing. I like it. I think it's a good way to build to a match. I know he's done it 100 times before. Maybe I'll get sick of it. I know some people are saying that they are. I'm not really sick of it, though. I enjoy it. I think it happens long enough and it's drawn out enough, and they make it feel a little bit different. And they've also, he even mentions it like it's a little meta, right? Like, because he actually kind of goes in and he's like, I know people always talking about they've got to fight me or fight a bunch of people. Like, he mentioned the fact that, it happens a lot, in his promo. I think just that alone kind of shows, how self-aware they are of things, and it almost makes it like okay for me.
Okay.
Well,
We'll agree to disagree, my friend.
I like the fact that they've
Do
kind
what,
of
Rob?
created this. I like the fact they've kind of created this final boss mentality around MJF because, I mean, to be fair, it's all just kind of like a wink and a nod to Roman Reigns and how Roman Reigns doesn't work a whole lot of matches. He just kind of does the big stuff. I mean, you're not seeing MJF wrestle on television a whole hell of a lot. His last match was 2 weeks ago against Ricky Starks, and even then, he hadn't really had a match in probably a month or maybe even longer.
And he shouldn't. He really shouldn't. He's a champ.
He's a champ.
He should.
We see him, but he shouldn't have a match. Hulk Hogan didn't have a match every single Saturday in the main event. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, he's on there. You know, he's putting in his work, but he's doing what he does best and is selling tickets. He doesn't need to wrestle for people to want to tune in to watch him.
No.
Right? And so, like, it's like the old Paul Heyman Lesnar adage. It's like, you know, you don't want Christmas every Wednesday. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, let's wait
good.
once a year.
That's good. I like it. Other than Hangman beating Moxley clean, that was brilliant. Let's keep it going. I mean, they're 1 for 1. Let's get a rubber match.
One little
clothes
one
hanger
little
just
touchback.
Party.
Yeah, one little touchback to Konosuke Takeshita. He was in the Bola final against Speedball Mike Bailey last week, and Don Callis, who has now become kind of a talent scout and agent for AEW, they watched this guy very closely, and when they signed him to AEW late last year, they were like, "What are we going to do with Konosuke Takeshita?" So they are positioning this fella as one of the bigger mid-card, if not main event stars for the next 12 to 18 months. So we're going to see a lot of Takeshita, which is cool because that guy's special. I mean, he's been a wrestler since he was 14 years old, and he's only 26. So
nice.
I want to talk about this. I want to talk about this subject for a little bit, though.
Let's do it.
When was the last time we had a Japanese wrestler, especially one that wasn't very fluent in English or American, as MJF said, which was like, man, that made me pop. I'm like, I cannot believe they around here we speak American. It's like every single dude with real tree hat on and overalls drinking a Bud Light in his lounge chair was like, hell yeah, we do, brother. Oh, shit. But when was the last time you saw that, archetype really, really, truly get over to the top tier status, like in AEW, WWE over the years? I mean, I know there's been some Japanese high flyers and stuff like that, but even what was the first one that was so popular in WWE during the mid '90s? Wore the blue pants, high flyer. He's a legend. I think he's in the Hall of Fame now.
Taka Michinoku?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, the Michinoku driver, right?
Yep, Taka Michinoku.
Created that one. Yeah.
They had tie and tie.
Yeah, so I think is just their voice, just their speaking, is that stopping them from truly getting to that high end? Because we talk about it's like, oh, these Japanese wrestlers are great. They come and then they put them in some stuff and they don't ever really get over, and they never really get the shot or the time that they can, and they kind of seem to fade into obscurity again.
All right, so let's review. Let's review. You had the great Muda, who was in WCW, didn't really speak a whole lot, but very over. And now Keiji Muto is having his retirement match next week with Sting and Darby Allin as his partners. That guy had a 30-plus year career. It was fabulous. Jushin Thunder Liger, very over in the United States. Didn't speak a whole lot, but he was just a character.
He was more of a luchador style almost. Right. That's the thing, though.
I mean, like it's yeah. I mean,
and then
if I'm thinking of anybody right now,
right?
But who can do the talk and the performance? It's Shinsuke Nakamura, and he's one of my favorites, and Asuka, and but even Asuka doesn't talk that much.
Right.
She speaks more with her actions and everything, but Nakamura can bang on the mic.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Nakamura wasn't over. I mean, he came over and he had his gimmick, but he didn't get. I mean, he could talk, but he's got to do that. And Nakamura is a very good example. And that's what I'm saying. Like, how many Nakamura's are there? There's not a lot, and we don't really see it that often. And my question is, do we think that that's the only thing that's really stopping these people is their ability to talk? Because it's the same gimmick. They get on, they start wailing off in Japanese or whatever, or Mandarin, whatever it is that they speak, that individual. And then they come and then they say something really, really simple in English. And then, that gets a pop. But like, that's the only gimmick that you can do. That's the only play you can run.
Well, it's like the whole thing, like Penta says, as he, runs in, Hispanic.
But see, I feel like Hispanic, for one, Hispanic is a much higher spoken name.
True.
Language in America. So there is a much, much larger, there is a large Hispanic population that watches wrestling. Huge Hispanic population that watches wrestling in America, not just like, I'm not talking about like AAA. So that helps a little bit. But then people like that, they get over. And honestly, most of the Hispanic wrestlers, they speak good English. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, look at Rey Mysterio, look at all the guys that came on me, Eddie Guerrero, like these guys were very fluent and very good on the mic. And that's why they got over. So I just, these guys, I'm just curious as to how much time and effort they're actually spending into trying to get on the mic, if they care, because I think it's very, very detrimental if they want to get over. Because this guy can obviously go. He's got the looks. He's got the size. He's a big dude.
A big guy.
Right? Like, he's got all the gifts. He just – and you can tell that he has inflection when he speaks, and you can tell he's probably great on the microphone over in, in New Japan or wherever else he might be. But when he gets over here, it's like, oh, there's the one trick that they did, and then now what are we going to do?
Well, it comes down to – I saw an article this week of, like, Bret Hart's 3 things that make a wrestler. It's like your mic skills –, your physical appearance, and your in-ring work. Like, those 3 have to be top-notch. Nothing else matters. And that's when he was coming up. That's when he gave The Rock basically his, like, thumbs up. And The Rock was, like, super appreciative of that. And so I think he's narrowed it down to, those 3 things. Mic skill, gotta look good, gotta look the part. And then, how good you perform.
You got to walk the walk, you got to talk the talk, and you got to look the part.
Yep.
Now
Rob.
we can also go to the flip side here with, lucha libre and Japanese wrestling, because if you look at New Japan, they've had 2 Gaijin foreigner champions in the last 10 years. That's Kenny Omega and Jay White. If you go back in their history, the only Gaijin champions that they've had have been Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle, Hulk Hogan, Scott Norton, and Vader. Big Van Vader. Those are your 5 that over Pro Wrestling Noah, All Japan Pro Wrestling, and New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Well, you got Carl Anderson that just lost the never open weight.
Sure,
right?
but I'm talking about world
heavyweight.
titles. I'm not talking about all these mid cards, all these other titles. I'm talking about these, because we could go real deep down this rabbit hole. We ain't got time for that shit, to be fair.
But that's a decent number, I think, for the actual world championship. And if you go, how many people have had the WWE world championship that were at that level? Has Nakamura even ever won the world championship?
I don't think he has.
I think he's won the U.S. and the Intercontinental.
He won the U.S. and Intercontinental, and he had a great feud with AJ Styles.
I can't think of any Asian or Japanese. Yokozuna.
Yokozuna was champion. He
was Samoan?
He was Japanese, but he's Samoan. And he held the title for a good bit. And then you had Rey Mysterio, who's
well, see, I'm not counting. I think it's much easier for a lucha to get over. But that's
we'll run forward.
Yeah.
With this. Do we want to talk about that trios title match, the ladder match?
I was like, great, there's the best of 7. I was expecting to be like, but they made those 7 matches great. And hats off to the Bucks and Omega and Death Triangle. Good luck. Bravo, guys. Hang on. I'm going to give you some clapping. Bam. Where's my clapping at?
I don't know. I feel like it was too many matches.
I'm with Rob. Fuck the 7 matches. It was stupid. Like, I was excited for it at the beginning, and then Rob did the rant or whatever, and I'm like, I think it'll be for good paper. But it's like, it felt like fucking Groundhog Day every single Wednesday. It's like,
they changed
it's
things
the
up
same
every
thing.
single time.
No, I'm not saying the matches weren't good themselves. You know what I mean? But like, a great build can make a decent match feel special, and a shitty build, the match will still be good, but you're not as invested in it. And I wasn't invested. I was invested in the last one, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there was, I watched, some of them I just kind of fast forwarded through. It's like, I know they're good wrestling matches, but it's like, I'm not invested because this match doesn't mean anything. Like, it didn't felt like it meant anything. The last one felt like it meant something, and they did some crazy spots. The ending, the finish was good. I thought it was a solid match. I mean, a really damn good match. But you already know it's the Young Bucks. It's the Lucha Brothers. Like, they're never gonna not have a good match. Like, the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers in the cage match is one of my favorite matches of all time when they first won the tag team titles.
100%.
Like, of all time.
Yeah,
like,
that was good.
Definitely the best tag team cage match ever. Like, so they're going to have a good match. It's just, I just wasn't invested in it. So I don't know. Rob, what do you think?
Well, if I can, it comes down to the predictability of it. Same thing with the MJF stuff. Like, just throw a wrench in there, have the Bucks lose or whatever in 5. And you're like, oh, shit. We weren't expecting that. If you say, oh, we're the best of 7, we all know it's going to be 7. If, Trials of MJF is going to be 5, we all know, he's going to get to that boss fight.
Yeah.
Change things up. Just fuck with the audience just a little bit.
I agree. They don't do it. I think, and when they do stuff like that, I said do. It's a huge positive. I think I'm always, even if it's not the outcome that I necessarily wanted, I'm like, oh wow, I wasn't expecting that. I like when things happen in wrestling that I didn't expect.
Yes.
Almost always, really. Like, even if it's not really what I wanted, quote unquote, I almost always enjoy seeing things that surprise me.
I can get down.
Get down with it, Rob. Why aren't you down with it?
I can get down with that too, but but at the same time, you had 7 matches, and it took 2 months to get through these 7 matches. And sure, it's fine. It made great television. They made gimmick matches. They had, what the hell was that? The ring hammer on a pole match or whatever the hell they did.
Yeah.
all the toys.
The Xanax bottle on a pole.
Man, I'm telling you,
we put a loaded gun out there.
I love a gimmick match, but I feel like this best of 7 series just kind of became a gimmick in and of itself. And now they're talking about doing this with Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega for the U.S. title.
Yes, they're doing 2 out of 3, I think, right?
It's too much. It's too
much.
Well,
the three is okay because they normally do that anyways, right? They normally have somebody and then they get them rematched or something like that, and then they have a big payoff. So I think a trilogy is perfectly fine, especially for people at that level. But I mean, past 3. I think it's getting a little much. And you know why they did this, right? Like, it's the reason why they did this is because they were scared that if they had the Young Bucks come back and win the titles, which is what they wanted to do, that people would be like, what the fuck? You've changed the trio titles a million fucking times. You're changing all these titles. You're like WCW fucking circa 2000. And like, this is bullshit. And you should let the Lucha, and they're going to get mad. But what they did is they matched like, oh, you realize we just came back. We've only had one match. We've only had matches with one person, and it's for the title. Don't look at that. Look at this over here. There's 7 of these. Like, that's all they're trying. It's bait and switch. They're trying to make you feel like it's been a long thing to help put the Lucha Brothers over, so they still feel strong, but they lose the titles. That's why they did it. They just took 2 fucking months to do it, and
too much.
Yeah, too much.
Less is more sometimes. Less is more.
Less is more. Let me talk about where. Forget about less is more. Let's talk about where just all the pieces just really seem to fit, and more is more. And what I like is in Impact's Hard to Kill 2023 last night live from Center Stage here in Atlanta, Georgia. We had a full Metal Mayhem match between Bully Ray and incumbent champion, the walking weapon, Josh Alexander. And let me talk to
Rob,
you, man.
why don't you explain to us what a Full Metal Mayhem match is?
So, all right. So back in, it must have been like 2006 or 7 when TNA, when it was Impact Wrestling, but they still had the TNA title. Bully Ray, the former Bubba Ray Dudley, came up with this Full Metal Mayhem match. It was basically an Extreme Rules match because all the ECW guys had just been displaced because NXT had just started, and the ECW brand in WWE was kind of wiped out, and they said, we're just going to get rid of this. So Tommy Dreamer and Rhino and a bunch of these other guys came to Impact, and they created kind of an ECW 2.0. So you fast forward a little bit, you have this Full Metal Mayhem match. It's anything goes. It's no holds barred. It's an ECW style match, and Bully Ray, who's been one of the biggest heels in wrestling in the last 20 years, is just magnificent what he does on the microphone and how he just does it in person. He and Josh Alexander get in that match, and it's a damn spot fest. I mean, it was really fun to watch. They had all the toys. They had the tables, the thumbtacks. They had all the fun shit. They had the ladders. At one point, Bully Ray brings a cheese grater into the ring, and I'm thinking to myself, is Nick Gage going to jump out any second and just take this cheese grater and just beat the shit out of both of them?
He's going to have his pizza cutter, and then somebody's going to come out with a mountain. They're just going to make a full-on fucking pepperoni.
Long LED lights.
We're going to make pizza on your face. So anyway, Josh gets a hold of it and just crushes Bully across the face. He powders out, blood everywhere. And he just takes his cheese grater. He is running it across this dude's head. I mean, you could. It was gross because they've got the camera right here, and they're in the ring ropes, and he's just running this cheese grater across this man's face. You can see the skin peeling off of this guy's face. Gross. It was like they were real close up, and then they bring
like a nice Gouda
out in the tables, and Bully Ray throws the goddamn table, throws the ladder, and Josh falls into the thumbtacks. And anyway, he finally hits the C4 pile driver in the thumbtacks and beats Bully Ray to kind of end. Hopefully, this is the end of this feud because I really personally.
Well, no, they got to blow it off in a big way. They don't want to. Yeah.
I'm ready to have Bully Ray.
They're going to do a best 7 out of 13 match.
Oh, 7 out of 13. I hope not. Pretty really bad. But another big story coming out of Hard to Kill last night after the men's World Heavyweight match. Ooh, I like it. That's pretty. It's we're talking about Justin's favorite female wrestler at the moment, Jordan Grace, the Impact Women's Champion.
Wait. She wrestles?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's not only on OnlyFans.
Oh, shit. God, what a talent.
Shayna, he loves
I just watch her lifting on Instagram. I just watch her picking up savvy stuff on Instagram.
So Jordan Grace, Muscle Mommy, and the forever in our hearts, one of the greatest of all time, Mickie James. This is the career versus match. This is a big one. And what was cool is Mickie James is a very proud Native American woman. She's part Native American, I think like maybe 40%. And they bring this Native American tribe into center stage, and they play her and dance her into the ring, and she does this beautiful interpretive dance with the drums and the women dancing around her, and then hardcore country plays, and she comes out to the ring. But that was a really cool moment to see, and it was almost one of those things where it was just like, man, I think she is gonna win this match now, because I don't feel like they go to all that trouble, or
is the ultimate way to go out,
or it's the ultimate way to go out. That's true, to be fair. So they get in the ring, and it starts out hot pretty quick. Jordan Grace is a legitimately strong woman. She's a former power lifter. She is a legitimately strong human being, and she just overpowers Mickie James. They're the same size. They're both 5'2", and
but Jordan weighs twice as much as Mickie.
Yeah, she is overpowering this woman. But it's Mickie James, and she is the veteran. She's the resilient one, and she knows how to work, but she also knows how to make Jordan look strong. And the match kind of goes back and forth. Mickey starts getting a little shine, and the match concludes with Mickey's DDT. She pins Jordan for the 1, 2, 3.
Really?
She is your five-time
Women's Impact World Wrestling.
That's correct.
Good for her.
And she's a 6-time WWE Women's Champion. So overall,
6 times. No, I'm just saying, I'm not going to do that.
She is an 11-time Women's World Champion. That puts her in the elite status with people like, the Angelina Loves of the Impact world and the Madison Raynes of the Impact world, but also puts her with the Charlotte Flairs, who is a 14-time champion. So, I mean, obviously Mickey's way up here in the echelon of women's wrestling, but she is.
The difference is Mickey James has been wrestling for how long?
Like 20 years.
Probably,
and surely nepotism has nothing to do with Charlotte Flair.
I was about to say, I was like, so
Nothing.
Mickey James has 11 in 2 decades. Charlotte Flair's won 14 in the last 3 months. So, like,
that's true. Even on hiatus from wrestling, Charlotte Flair was winning titles. This is
yeah.
Well, look, I know we're giving Charlotte Flair some shit. I mean, she is a qualified athlete to be a top level wrestler. But nepotism and her family name has nothing to do with any time she wants a title shot, she gets it.
Yeah.
Or, any big push. Nothing to do with it.
I think she deserves it. She really is one of, if not the best women wrestlers of all time, in my opinion.
Great. I'm not denying that.
Yeah. I mean, they got to do the storyline. It's like they started doing with John Cena and then they never went through with it. I'm sure they will eventually, but, John Cena's like tied for Flair's title. And, I feel like you got to give it to him one more time just to break it at some point.
I don't think he wants to break it. I think he's good. I think he's happy with.
Man, I fucking would. But like, I think Charlotte Flair. That they're playing that. Obviously, she's just a couple away. Like she's gonna, they're gonna bring it in, but they got to do it quick because they got to have her dad be part of that. He's gonna die. You know what I mean? Like that's why they're pumping these freaking victories out. It's like
Justin, I hate to break it to you, but everyone dies, dude.
Well, look, I'm not unrealistic. I know that I'm going to die eventually, but I think that with modern science and my elevated income, I can make it to at least 300 or 400.
Okay.
In closing, Impact Wrestling Hard to Kill. Congratulations to Mickey James, your new Impact Wrestling Women's Champion. How is this going to play out with Masha Slamovich being the #1 contender to that title? We shall see if the big Russian is going to retire Mickey or not. Speaking of wrestling and fans and all these other things, we are better
retirement,
and we would love to have your questions and your comments. So please follow us on our Instagram page at Better Than Broadway. We'd like to thank our new fans, Kelly, and we'd like to reach out to Kelly and Matt and Oreo, their kitty cat Oreo, listening to us in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada, just outside of Toronto. Thank you guys for listening in.
Yes, please phone in. The 1-800. No, we would love to hear your questions, your comments, your concerns, your prayer requests, your music selections, or your funny dad jokes. Any of those things. Just type them right in.
I want those prayer requests, 100%. You know why I want those prayer requests? You know why I want them?
Because you don't got a chance in hell.
Because I don't have a chance in hell. Perfect segue, Justin. Thank you so much. The big story of probably 2023 is going to be the return of Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
You think he's going to win the Rumble?
Yes. He'll win the Rumble.
Because they're talking about he's probably going to be at the Rumble. You guys know that, right? Like they're literally talking about book it, you cowards.
Is he going to be like an Iron Man suit? So like he's just being animated as he just punches people out? Like
at this point, when he's dead, they're going to do the fucking Weekend at Bernie's booking. They're just going to have him like motherfuckers never. He's going to be in wrestling in 3. He's like the fucking Walt Disney of like they're just going to freeze his head and put it in the center of the ring. It's going to be Vince's head on a pole match for the fucking title. That's what it's going to be. His frozen head.
Well, folks, for those of you that are not following this story, and I don't know how the hell you're not, Vince McMahon has returned to WWE. He has muscled himself back into the executive chairman role and it's looking like there might be a sale of WWE mid.
Not might. There is going to be a sale, and they're talking about as early as June.
And
so,
as a shareholder in WWE, I am thrilled with the stock price lately. Thanks for that. But as a fan, I'm very worried because this has been a staple of my life for a very long time is WWE. This has been the perennial thing for me, and to see what it might become is a little bit scary. They were
it's scary.
Started.
Good. I was going to say it's scary, but it's exciting because I don't think, any company that buys it is going to want the product to flourish. And I think it's very obvious to anybody that knows enough or has enough people that knows enough about the product to know that, the way it's going right now is probably the way that it needs to go. And I think if anybody's deluded and is going to make a wrong decision about it, it's Vince McMahon. It's Vince McMahon. And so I think him selling it and giving somebody else power, there are a lot of different options out there, and I think the positive, like how positive I am about some people buying it, it varies, and I kind of want to talk about that. So let's talk about. I'm not sure if you guys have made a list or looked at it. Let's talk about all the possible suitors, so to say.
Have you seen
people
the
that
Vegas
could
odds?
potentially buy it. Yes, they had those up. Can you pull those up? Can we pull those up?
I can't, but I can't.
Somebody
but I got
in the
most
group.
of them in my head.
Hang on.
Somebody in the group posted it, didn't it?
Yeah, I got
let's
most
see.
of them in my head.
Was it the IG or here we go right here? So
Sports betting. Yeah, here we go.
Vegas odds. Yep, I got them. Vegas odds. Who will buy WWE? These are the over/under. So -140 is Comcast, and me personally, that's interesting because that's who I think is the most.
Well, they're already on an NBC network.
Yes, and that Comcast owns Peacock. They already have a lot of the stuff. I think the product would change the least if Comcast buys it.
Well, that's why that's the lowest odds too.
Yes, exactly. So, and then we've got Disney's at a plus 300 or 350. The Endeavor Group Holdings, which I don't know much of.
That's UFC.
Who is it? Okay? That's what I was just about to say. Is that UFC?
That's Mark Wahlberg and Dana White and a bunch of other people.
Okay. 900 plus, Amazon 950 plus, Netflix 1200 plus. I'm surprised that they're as low as they are just because they don't quite have the buying power that a lot of these other companies do.
Well, Netflix is hemorrhaging money right now, so they're having come
that's
back
what
a
I'm
lot.
saying. So it doesn't really make sense that they would spend,
stock.
What are we looking for? They're looking for like $9 billion for WWE right now. I think it's valued at like 7.5 or something like that.
I've got that,
and they're worried
I'll
about
buy
it potentially. Yeah, you'll wait till I get my paycheck and then we'll go in.
Did anybody win the lottery last night? It's $1.5 billion.
Man,
I did not. Yeah.
So Fox is at 1,200, right up there with Netflix. Liberty Media.
They own the Atlanta Braves.
Oh, okay. Well, that would okay. Warner Brothers, obviously. Dwayne Johnson at Redbird Capital. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that guy, Dwayne Johnson.
Never heard of him.
He's
why is he relevant?
He used to wrestle. Sovereign Wealth Fund of Saudi Arabia, and that's the big one. That's the one that everybody was talking about. That's the one that was 100% a done deal. And here's why I think that that's still very, very much so on the table is because Stephanie McMahon stepped down. Because not that I don't think they absolutely would not have a woman as CEO if that deal goes through.
Fair point.
So she would have to step down before to make things look good, right? In a positive way. If they take over and then a woman that you want to talk about a woke fucking army coming up and rising and just, man, I mean, they would be canceled faster than you could possibly imagine. So, and then you got Tony Khan has actually expressed interest, which he's at plus 3,000. So he's at least on the lease. Again, much like Netflix, the Khan family is very, very, they're like the 9th wealthiest family in America, but we've got Saudi Arabia is like literally the richest people in the world ever. Yeah. Like, I mean, the prince is, they have the most, it's not even reported, it's their truly probably the only trillionaires
as
on
long
the
as
world.
oil
So
exists, they can print their own money.
Yeah.
exactly. And so I think we're looking at Comcast, and but I'm still concerned about Saudi Arabia, and I'm concerned about Saudi Arabia. But I'm interested in it because with Saudi Arabia buying it, it would almost certainly become a private company, right? So go ahead, Rob.
Here's why I like Saudi Arabia, and here's why I don't like Saudi Arabia as the front runner for this. They just paid Cristiano Ronaldo $300 million a year. It's a $300 million a year to play soccer, to play frickin' soccer in Saudi Arabia.
$1.5 billion.
Holy! I thought it was 350 for all 5 years.
Here's where it gets interesting. Yesterday, the rival club of this Saudi Arabian club that has Ronaldo, they just offered Lionel Messi $450 million American a year to play soccer. So now you got these two guys potentially playing each other. So now we've got almost $3 billion wrapped up in two soccer players for 5 years. So to me,
that is ridiculous.
You got
that's a lot. That's a lot of chicken chimichangas.
A lot of chicken chimichangas. You got this golf thing, the LIV golf. You got that going on. Saudi Arabia wants sports. Saudi Arabia doesn't want the stigma of being a country that has all these human rights violations things.
But are they still going on?
They're still going on.
Yes,
okay,
they are.
Well, then it's always going to be there.
So if you buy WWE, they buy WWE, they're going to go in at like 10, 15, $20 billion. They got it. They're going to spend whatever the hell they got to spend to get it. But then people like Sami Zayn are gone. Kevin Owens is gone. Heyman is gone. Most of your women wrestlers gone. All these people that just have consciences are gone.
Anybody that has a conscience.
So hang on that notion. Who would stay? Who doesn't have a conscience?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
I think a lot of people are more concerned about the money, and if it would mean that they could potentially get more to re-sign on. I mean, look, these people have contracts, and they've also got to worry about if they leave at this point and Saudi Arabia's on their butt and they're saying no, you need to stay, they might just get disappeared. It's a little bit more serious than just I got to look for another job. That's my opinion. Here's the thing: Saudi Arabia, like you're saying, they are trying to create. If you've ever been to, Saudi Arabia, which I'm not, even if you've never been, if you've seen, they're trying to create a country that is the best country in the world for everything. That's why they have, there are far more billionaires. There are far more billionaires that are moving there. I was just listening to a podcast that said they had 6,000 billionaires that moved there last year. Alone, wow. 6,000 billionaires that moved there last year alone. So all the wealthy people in the world, I didn't exactly. So I want to do the thing, and I want to do the math and find out how many billionaires there are in the world. So I mean, everybody's going there that has money, basically, and it's because that they're buying all these things and they're trying to create this amazing place to live. Now, the thing is that. It's very much so. It's not even patriarchy. It's past patriarchy, right? It's the very, very old school repressed, women no rights type of thing that are over there. And I feel like that could be where these things move. And this is a whole different subject. And I know it's a touchy subject. So I'm not going to sit here and talk about opinions or anything else like that. But it is very much so a patriarchy-driven society, and I think that everybody that is high up and that is fed up of being canceled by woke culture is going there in droves, just the same way as people from California are moving to Texas. And I think that they are doing this as a grab to say, hey, it's not just the, whatever. What is it? There's 3,311 billionaires in the world total. How old is that?
This year.
Oh, this year is in there. So I just heard that it was. Oh, is it 600, not 6,000? Okay, so 600 billionaires. I'm glad. Thank you for Rob. Thank you for putting that up on me, so we don't have a drove of comments from all of our tens of fans telling us that we got our information wrong. But
Always got
so
your back, brother.
do that math. What is that? That is that 20%? 20% of the world's billionaires moved to Saudi Arabia in the last year? Like, that's kind of fucking crazy. That almost, I mean, and obviously they probably know some stuff that we don't. So what's going on? So that makes me think that Saudi Arabia is very, very posed to be the one that purchases it. And if there is a bidding war, they're going to win. They're
trying to get the World Cup in 2030.
Yeah, but like, I mean, how much? Okay, here's the question. JP Morgan's facilitating the sale. Vince McMahon is returning to make the sale. How much of a conscience does Vince McMahon have?
Well, that's why everybody thinks it is Saudi Arabia, because he has such a good, working relationship with him and Nick Khan with Saudi Arabia and the Crown Jewel and everything that they've done in the past.
But wouldn't he know that like all these other wrestlers are going to be gone?
I don't think he gives a shit, because Vince McMahon is just going to make more, and there's going to be money there, and it's going to be, and that's all he's ever been about is power. And this puts him in with, one of a group of the most powerful people in the world. It all depends on what the parameters of the contract is. Is he going to stay in place? Is he going to finally kick back and retire? And now he has all this money, he can do that. That's what's yet to be seen. But as far as like Rob was saying, I think I'm scared and excited about it. I'm scared. I'm a little bit let down in any way, shape, or form, just because of the kid in me, the nostalgia thinks about the old America versus everybody thing. And then if we literally sold out to what used to be the enemy, right? And I'm just thinking like in canon, right? Like Hulk Hogan, whatever.
Right.
Like if we literally sold out to
the Iron Sheik,
to the Iron Sheik, it would just the 8-year-old in me would be crushed. You know what I mean? Realistically, there aren't really any countries anymore. There's just companies. So that's a whole nother subject.
That's a fair point.
I will say the best thing that could come out of this potentially is that if Saudi Arabia buys WWE, then we can eliminate all of Hulk Hogan's title reigns, and the Iron Sheik could have been champion for like
just gaslight it all.
Erase history and do it. Well, I mean,
Hulk Hogan, fuck you.
Anybody that's been accused of rape or any domestic violence, they get their jobs back, right?
Oh God.
I mean, let's just be real. Like, they don't care about that shit. Look, they want Vince McMahon to come back in the midst of all these sexual assault allegations. To make the sale.
That's true.
They don't give a shit. They don't care. And that's my point, is like,
I don't think they don't give a shit. I think Vince McMahon doesn't give a shit. And that makes it even worse. Like, the whole idea of him being back in the spotlight is that he did all these terrible things for decades. And it's just like, well, if you want to sell the company, you got to have me, because I own 81% of the stock. So kiss my ass. He's going to have the Vince McMahon Kiss My Ass Club. It's going to be back, but it's on the board of directors, and that's why Stephanie was like, I'm out.
I think they're literally just all doing this so the biography is better. I just think that all of this, the whole time I've been watching this play out with Vince McMahon, I'm just thinking like, there's no way, and I'm not talking about a little Dark Side of the Ring documentary. I'm saying like, there needs to be like a Nashville level, or like, like what's like some big mob television series. Like, they need to make a full on drama television series about the behind the scenes of owning the largest wrestling company in the world. And like, I'm talking about like Yellowstone. They need to make a Yellowstone for WWE, and Vince McMahon is the evil John Dutton. Like, obviously there's going to be, it's a little bit of a different character, but I mean, that's all I think when I see this. Is like, I want to see,
people would watch that.
I want to see the behind the scenes, even if it's not real. I would watch this. Like, what are the actual talks between Stephanie and Vince when they're having this, and Triple H, not the email that she sends out that her assistant wrote for her, or her PR person wrote for her, that she didn't even touch, and she just put her name on it to save face for the company, because she's legally obligated to, in order to make whatever money that she needs to make to get out of it or whatever. No, I want to see the actual conversations that they're fucking having like fuck you and throwing fucking bourbon glasses at each other and shit like that. That's the kind of stuff that has gone on behind the scenes for years, behind that true curtain. Not the curtain call with Nash and them. I mean the true fucking curtain that we don't see. And just stuff like this happening on the outside, it's really easy to kind of go conspiracy theory and really let your mind go with what's going on behind the scenes.
I love. I'm gonna put a post to the group, or not the group, the polls. Like, what are your conspiracy theories of what's going on behind the curtain?
Yeah, I like it.
No, it's such an interesting dynamic because Vince McMahon's coming back. Obviously, there's tension there. Triple H is head of creative, and now is he? Is he getting? Sorry, kid. Sorry, son. And knocks him out of the way. My daughter's not around. You have no power here. So,
yeah.
What's that like? Because obviously there's a personal relationship there, and there's a relationship that's been there since the 90s, professional and personal.
The only thing that I'm not concerned about now, if this would have happened 5 years ago, it would be very, very detrimental, and I would be very scared for the forwardment of professional wrestling. The only reason why I'm not scared now is because there are so many more wrestling fans and there are so many other alternatives now that if WWE literally goes under, AEW is just going to get so much bigger and better. And we're going to get these, Triple H could be in AEW doing the booking, right? Like, I mean, it's, if he gets fired, like that's a very real thing. Triple H is loyal to his family, but if he goes, he's loyal to wrestling first, and he very much so still has that old school mentality of wrestling. And I mean, you put Triple H in charge of creative with AEW with no fucking strings attached. Like, I can't think of a better scenario. So that's the only reason that I'm not too concerned about WWE. Just, I mean, if it literally went under and they just sold it and then like it just stopped and died, and I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Vince McMahon would want that to be his legacy.
No. It won't. But I mean, again, I felt like Disney was the best option for the longest time because it just seems like they're buying up all this IP, because that's really all it is at this point. Like, it's not even companies, it's just IP of like, what can we put on hats and shirts and shit. And like, they've got Marvel, they've got Star Wars, they've got all these big things. WWE feels like it fits with that, with American nostalgia. And I just think, having WWE, it just, I don't know. It seems like it works better than Peacock or anything else, but
I just don't want Donald Duck in the Royal Rumble. Just no Disney.
I do think it would be cool to do crossovers for WWE wrestlers and Marvel movies.
Yeah.
I don't think that's such a bad idea. I mean,
you already have Batista.
Yeah, I mean, imagine them doing some kind of show where either, Roman Reigns is cartoonized and fighting fucking Deadpool or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's a lot of opportunities, or putting these people. Imagine the opportunities for the wrestlers if Disney buys it. Having a Miz in like the next, like, Disney, like, I don't know what whatever big Disney princess movie or something like that, have Charlotte Flair in the next, they do a princess movie about her. Like, I think there's a lot of opportunities for good programming that Disney is, not the best at, but they at least are a much higher level than the WWE programming that they put on that's non-wrestling, right?
Name, image, likeness.
Yeah. It's all they're buying.
That's all they're buying.
I don't know. I think, WWE has been on a upward swing since Vince left, since Triple H has, been able to turn the notch a few more clicks. And I feel if Disney gets it, they're going to go back to kind of the PG era. And, that was some of the boringest wrestling I've seen. And not just because where everything's going to be family friendly. It's just kind of like everything seemed safe.
It was,
and safe not as like safe for the wrestlers. It's like, we don't want to make anybody mad.
No, sterilized. It was baby proofed. Like, it was just, it was sterilized.
So that'd be my version to Disney.
Neutered. That's the word I was looking for. Everything was neutered in the PG era.
Yeah. Well, we will do our best to keep everybody updated on the future of WWE, the sale, the pending sale, how talent is going to go, how creative is going to go. We'll make sure that we give you all the best. So stick around, stay here at Better Than Broadway.
And if anybody wants to buy Better Than Broadway, you just contact Ryan at where are we at? What's the email address?
Just Better Than Broadway on Instagram.
On Instagram, just DM us and let us know. We're doing a flash sale right now, so it's normally $4.2 billion. We're doing it for 3.9, and you get a hat.
We will take that money.
I will personally deliver said hat. I will personally deliver the hat. Promise.
What if they want you to deliver the hat and like you're wearing that hat and that's the only thing that you wear? You better do it for 3.9 billion.
That's possible.
I'll do a lot of things for 3.9 billion.
Don't threaten me with a good time. Well, guys, is that the show?
Yeah.
Are we done? Wrapped?
That's the show, guys.
Yeah. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, like. Tell us what you want, what you don't want. We will do whatever you want, guys.
We like to please, guys. Yeah, we'll do whatever you want. Please,
we'll do whatever you want.
Please just watch us.
Yeah.
We just want to be loved.
Well, great show, guys. He's Chef. He's Muscles. I'm Coach. Happy wrestling, everybody. We'll see you next week.
This is W.E.
United Empire.